In the upcoming lessons, we're going to be exploring how to build out a RESTful API from scratch. This is going to be perfect for beginners who want to learn more about Node, and we're going to be creating a RESTful API, so an HTTP Express server using Node, and also JavaScript and jQuery for the front end. Node provides us an amazing to make AJAX requests to our Node server backend and pull in information back to our front end. And in this case, we are going to be using jQuery for our front end coding. In this course, as mentioned, this is perfect for beginners. It's designed as a step-by-step course to introduce you to and get you familiar with using Node in order to set up a server backend. And we do need to set up a server backend in order to receive the different request methods. So get, post, put, and delete. So this is what a RESTful API is. It allows us to set this up and return back responses depending on the request parameters. So it's a series of responses returning back for different requests, and the different types of request methods are get, put, post, delete, and there's a whole bunch of them, but these are the core ones that we're going to be focusing on in the upcoming lesson. So JavaScript is also required for this course. So a fundamental core concept of JavaScript, so knowing about variables, functions, is going to help within developing the course content, because Node is based on JavaScript. It's a JavaScript library, except it just runs on the server end. So you do need to be familiar with JavaScript, and it's going to make a whole lot more sense. And this course is perfect for anyone who wants to practice by building a simple web application. We've got everything you need in order to set this up and include it within the course. So that includes resources as well as source code. So everything you need, you're going to be able to set up a local host. And at the end of the lessons, we are also going to be introducing a database, so a SQLite database. We're going to be setting up routes in Express to handle our CRUD. And also, all of the tools are going to be included so that you can work alongside the lessons of the course. And of course, if you are familiar with Node, you can skip through some of the earlier lessons to get to the real core RESTful API lessons, which are located at the end of the course, because this is designed for beginners to get you comfortable with using Node. So there's going to be a basic introduction to Node as well, and how to use Node, and some of the Node packages that we're going to be using in order to create our Express server, and also to retrieve body information from our front end requests. And don't worry, I am going to be including information as well as how to do this in a step-by-step format within the upcoming lessons. So even if you've never done it before, you're going to have all of the information you need in order to try it out for yourself. We're going to be exploring how to set this up, and we need to use the terminal in order to access Node. So there is going to be command line interface, simple commands, how to navigate through and set up folders. So these are also included, and we're going to be walking through all of these in the earlier lessons in preparation for building out a RESTful API in the latter part of the lesson. There's also going to be an introduction to NPM, so that's the Node Package Manager, because there's a lot of amazing packages, and if you've never used Node Package Manager, you're going to be amazed at how easy it is to use this and build in and bring in all of this code into your projects really easily. And Node is at the very core of what we're doing, because we do need to have a backend server, so there is going to be covering of Node as well. And all of the starter files are also included so that you can start working with Node immediately and start setting it up within your local machine as well. The application that we're going to be building, so this is a sample of it, and it's going to allow us to have several different inputs. We can save, we can view, we can delete, as well as we can create new ones. And those are the routes that we are going to be creating in the upcoming lessons to complete our RESTful API. We're also going to be setting up Node in two different ways. First of all, to set it up as a local host, and then we're going to be introducing Express as a better way to create routes within Node. And having that local machine is going to be really useful because, of course, we do need to have a way to communicate to our backend, and that's where we need to have a local machine. And we are making AJAX requests as well, so we do need to have a path. So this is going to be an essential part of this course, is setting up that local machine. And if you've never done this before, we do have a really step-by-step guide of how to do this in the upcoming lessons. Also, how to power up your Node application with Express and NodeMon. So this gives you the ability to update your entry.js file and have the server restart on itself. So it's going to save you a lot of trouble. And we're also going to be introducing a number of other great resources to help you develop and to focus on the code instead of having to go over into the console and constantly restart your application. That's what NodeMon does. And of course, this course is focused on RESTful API. So create, read, update, delete. So that's the standard resources, methods that we're going to be looking at. And the ones that we're actually going to be using is get, post, put, delete. So they're going to be able to accomplish all of the CRUD methods. We're also going to be using some other resources like Postman in order to test our APIs, just to make sure everything is working properly. Also, the introduction of middleware. We're going to need middleware in order to pick up our body content. So we're going to use body parser for that. And again, we are going to be showing you how to introduce this and install it within your application so that you can get you working with this really quickly. Also, how to apply logic within your application with typical JavaScript conditions, if, else statements. And then also how we can set up static front-end files where we can run our index.html file from our local machine. And also bringing everything together with JavaScript and HTML, CSS, and being able to communicate with our backend data and pulling that back into the front end and then making use of it within our web page. So setting up all of the routes, I'm going to show you how to do that as well. And then finally, at the end of the lessons, we are going to be introducing a database. So databases can be a little bit tricky to install, and we are going to be using SQLite. So all of the source files in order to set this up on your own system are going to be also included. We're also going to be doing a refactoring of the code to make it look a lot neater and cleaner, including a helper file and some other helpful tips and information. So upon completion of the upcoming lessons, you should be comfortable in setting up and understanding how a RESTful API works. By the end of the course, this is the application that we're going to be building out. So it's a simple RESTful API. It pulls in data from the database. So these are all the database entries. We see that it outputs it on the page. Even when we refresh it, it's all still there. So currently we have 4 items in the database. And we're going to be using a really simple format where we've got a name, a password, and we've got an ID as our unique identifier for the data. And we can create brand new users. So brand new user and password. So we just simply click and create it. We see that it gets added into our output, as well as it's added into the query for all of the users and the user information. We can grab any one of these users that we've created. We can make an update to it and save it. We can view it within our routes as well. So we can view it within a JSON format. And we can also delete anything that we want. And we can see once we update and refresh our page, so everything is still there and we're able to work with our content and delete it. And then we still get all of that information being output. So you're going to be able to set this up for yourself within your local machine by the end of the lessons. So when you're ready, let's jump right in and start creating some amazing things using JavaScript.